Watch out for those Goblin men's rights activists, everybody. Yes. It seems like every day it keeps getting worse for the new edition of Dungeons & Dragons from Wizards of the Coast. They've decided to make a woke edition of the game to ruin everything for players, for DMs, and everybody else out there. I don't know what they're thinking because the brand's being sunk, and actually the third-party supplements are actually even worse than what they're putting out at Hasbro, which we're going to get into in just a moment with our Goblins men's rights activists. This is a grok image I generated when I said, make me an image of Goblins men's rights activists. So this is, I guess, what it looks like when they're gathering in a fantasy village. You can't make this stuff up. It's so cringy. We're going to laugh at it together. Hit the like and subscribe button, everybody, as we talk about all things in culture, especially within fantasy. I'm a long-time RPG guy myself. I've DM'd games with hundreds of people online, like massive games that were a lot of fun back in the day. Wish I had time to do stuff like that these days, but I'm focused on my author career, guys. If you like fantasy stuff, this is going to be a series for you. Grab The Adventures of Baron von Monacle. It's about an airship crew that is questing. They fight monsters, and eventually they end up embroiled in a crazy war going on. So if you like Dungeons & Dragons, you're going to love the setting I've developed here. It's a lot of fun. It's 6 books long thus far, and it's available on ebook, print, and audio. Support great fantasy. Support independent fiction. It's in the description below. Thank you so much, guys, for buying our books and reading. You are awesome, and that is the type of modern audience that I want. I don't know about these people. They seem to want a different modern audience that doesn't buy things. And this is what they're doing now. Dungeons & Dragons has a massive problem with woke activists working on their current iteration of the game and tie-in supplements. After Lazy DM's Forge of Foes by Skyflourish was exposed for its rant on anti-colonialism, it's now shown to be even worse, painting goblins as men's rights activists. It's been a rough year for D&D. Players watching their beloved role-playing game of questing and fighting monsters turned into a political cudgel and social conditioning tool by the Hasbro Corporation. We saw the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide has incorporated BDSM fetish community practices in the game for safe spaces, and players can make an X with their arms if they feel triggered by a situation, requiring a DM to stop a game to address the player in question. Oh, so stunning and brave. Gets worse in the Player's Handbook, which is filled with BIPOC and female characters and a margin of more than 5-1 against white male characters, the direct opposite of the demographics who play the game. Of course, we've got the infamous Mexican orcs image. You can never see this enough. We can never forget that they've turned orcs into Mexicans. How cringy can you possibly get? Oh my gosh. But gosh, let's keep going, guys. The 2024 Monsters Manual we exposed yesterday at gender swaps traditionally female creatures like dryads and hags, and then turns the succubus and incubus into some like sort of transgender thing where they swap gender at will. Very, very weird. And they were bragging about it on the official Dungeons & Dragons YouTube channel in an interview. These people are sick. Like, they're laughing as they're just torching what Gary Gygax and company created before. And, of course, they're attacking Gary Gygax and, of course, the original founders of Dungeons & Dragons in the process. Now, there's a licensed supplement out there called Forge of Foes. The Lazy DMs is the line that they do. And it is lazy, definitely, because this is what the woke do. They make lazy storytelling, which is obnoxious. It's got a whole page of anti-white rants and anti-colonialism to destroy the immersion in the game. And it's absolutely crazy on this level that's here. The supplement urges players to make villainy a choice. It's not just a inherent trait. Orcs aren't bad. Just the orc bandits are bad, guys. They urge players not to say gnolls are attacking, but gnoll bandits are attacking to, quote, avoid racism against monsters. Yes, that's what we have to worry about in 2024. Not whether orcs are attacking a village or goblins are attacking a village, or you have to see things from the Mind Flayer's perspective, my friends. It's very important that he feels seen and that you respect his cultural differences. It's really absurd at this juncture, but this is how far they're going. This is how crazy these people are, and it makes for unfun, because if you just want a game where you're just monster slaying, you can't do that anymore in Dungeons and Dragons. It's illegal. That's what they'll kick you out of the game. So now it's been brought up in this new passage here in the same deal. This is Harmony Ginger brought this up. If you told me this passage existed, I wouldn't believe you. And here you are. One of the most standard adventure hooks, and this is from the book directly, in fantasy games goes something like this. Goblins are attacking the village. The characters need help. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a straightforward setup. It's fun. Yes, you see you see the problem here. It's fun. This is what these people want to destroy. They don't want you to have fun. They don't want you to enjoy straightforward setups. It's ridiculous. And let's go down the rabbit hole, my friends. As written, it embraces the explicit idea that goblins are attacking the village simply because that's what goblins do. Yes, that is what goblins do. Goblins are infernal creatures. They're evil. You have to destroy them, just like orcs. It's not that hard. There's nothing wrong with that either. This is so crazy that they want to just like really get into the goblin mind and figure things out here. So when the hook comes to mind or appears in a published adventure, put yourself in the frame of mind that attacking the villages isn't what goblins do across the board. Yeah, they also eat children and the like, but hey, then figure out what kinds of goblins might engage in that sort of behavior. Yes, not all goblins, my friends. Did you know that 13% of the population of fantasy creatures actually engage in 50% of the violent crime in Fantasy Village, and that 13% is goblins and orcs. It's so ridiculous. For example, goblin cultists are attacking the village, or goblin bandits are attacking the village. Goblin refugees are attacking the village. That's pretty based. Maybe we can talk about how the orc refugees are destroying every village that they come across. I'll run that adventure. And here's where it gets ridiculous, and they kind of go mask off. Goblins' men's rights activists are attacking the village. They can't help but throw in their stupid modernisms that don't make any sense within a fantasy setting whatsoever, as they throw this into complete woke chaos every single time. And I could only imagine sitting at a table where somebody actually tries to bring this up. I mean, obviously, the person who wrote this passage and wrote this book thinks that this is a thing and that this is something that they should run in adventures. I mean, absolutely crazy on this level to put this in this deal, because it immediately, you're reading the flow of this. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. You're like, okay, you need to give your villains motivations. I guess that's what they're attempting to say, but they're twisting it into that weird modern language sort of thing where it's, we got to be careful about racism rather than trying to be like, we need to give villains motivations. I do not agree. I mean, I'm actually going to go back and say that not all villains need motivations. People can be evil for the sake of being evil. Monsters can be monsters for the sake of being monsters. There's no problem with that. If you're a DM running a game, don't be shamed into this nonsense, because it does not necessarily add to anything whatsoever. There can be cool villains with motivations too, but when you're talking about goblins or orcs or gnolls or the Mind Flayer, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, okay? It really doesn't. You don't need to overthink this stuff because it's just stupid. But when they get into this kind of thing right here, they always throw in that one line, goblins men's rights activists, and it's like, you want to talk about destroying immersion of a fantasy setting? That, if you're actually working to be a DM and you're reading a supplement to try to be a better DM of a game, it's Dungeon Master if you don't know, then you should be sitting there worrying about your immersion. We talked about this in the terms of the Brandon Sanderson fantasy novels on our channel this last week. And a lot of what Brandon Sanderson did with his recent novels is did this exact thing right here. He threw in a line into his book code where somebody goes, "That's racist, Kaladin." And you have him talk about being a therapist. Well, when you're in an epic fantasy setting of a medieval setting, like he's got with his Stormlight archive right there, those words are modernism. Those are the things that actually throw you out of the setting and actually make for bad storytelling where you want to put the book down, because you start thinking about modern things at that point and you go, wait a minute, this is like a poorly written fantasy world. It's not, you're no longer immersed in the story. And that's exactly what this stuff does. That's why this ruins games. That's why this ruins fiction. That's exactly why everybody in Hollywood, video games, board gaming, tabletop games, books, comics, across the board with this woke mind virus have been destroying their own properties that they're working upon all the time, because this type of stuff actually does ruin good storytelling. And you have to bring it back, and you have to try to actually work on the classic tropes like they say up above. It's a straightforward setup. It's fun. Guess what? That works. There's a reason it works. It's good storytelling. This is bad storytelling. Very, very simple. And I hate to have to bring things out in that direct and that simple of a manner, but hey, that's where we're at in 2025. So run your DM games and actually have fun. Goblins are bad, orcs are bad, the Mind Flayer is bad. You don't have to worry about their motivations. Just have your adventure party slay the bad guys, save the village, and have a lot of fun. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Please check out my fun fiction, guys. You're going to love this if you enjoy good fantasy settings. The Adventures of Baron von Monocle's in the description below. Get all the 6 books, guys. It builds up so great. And my Crystal Conspiracy, my most recent one, I thought I really opened up a lot of cool magic stuff in there that I think you're going to enjoy. Let me know if you've gone that far into my series. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear from all my readers. You're the best. We'll be back soon.